So what we have for you today is two parts of that CED you should have looked at. There was a ed puzzle that showed you like 1.1, 1.2, 1 point whatever. The first one was water, and 1.2 is really quick. So we're going to get right into it here. A little sort of like mnemonic to help you remember the main elements. So we're talking about periodic table elements here. Is this honk if you're alive? So if you've ever seen like a bumper sticker that says, I don't know, honk if you're a Irish fan or something like that. Of course, we're changing the K to a C. So the main elements of life are hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and carbon. Now there's also a little bit of phosphorus and sulfur, but these are the main ones. So when we look at where these are found, we're going to basically say that carbon is found in all four of the big categories. So carbs, which include sugar, starches, cellulose, proteins, those are made of amino acids. Nucleic acids are things like DNA and RNA. Lipids are your fats and oils. So these all have carbon in them. So carbon's pretty universal when it comes to biology. Nitrogen is going to be found in proteins and nucleic acids only, so you won't find nitrogen in carbohydrates. Phosphorus is also found in nucleic acids and some lipids. And I just threw this one in here. Sulfur is found in a few amino acids, so that makes sulfur often found in proteins. So a common AP Bio question is, you're growing plants and they don't have enough nitrogen. What are they not going to be able to make? And so your answer there would be proteins and nucleic acids. So we're going to go through each one of these sort of individually, like carbohydrates. We're going to talk about what's in them. So as we go through this, you really should focus on which elements are in each one. And that's on that previous slide I just showed you. How these things are linked and unlinked, and this means chemically. How are they chemically hooking together, and how are they chemically broken apart? So growth might be linked, digestion might be unlinked. And you want to know examples of each one. So like examples of carbohydrates would be like glucose or starch. And you want to know the functions. So the functions of like glucose is to provide energy. The function of starch is energy storage in plants. So those are just examples of examples. So when we talk about all these, you'll want to know. So all four of these categories, carbs, proteins, nucleic acids, and lipids, are known as macromolecules, which are large molecules that are joined together. And we call those polymers as well. So macro means big, molecule, or polymers. And you can think of this as like each brick is a molecule, and when we join them all together, you get a macromolecule or a polymer. So each brick could also be called a monomer. So mono means one, polymer means many, so it's pretty easy to figure it out. So when we talk about these, we talk about condensation or dehydration. These are the same thing. So if you think about dehydrating like a piece of fruit, you're taking the water out of it. If water is condensating like on a cold drink, then where's that coming from? Water's coming out of the air. So both of these are water out reactions. So make sure that you understand that these are water out, okay? So if you were going to write something down in your notes, this would be important. So what happens is this, okay? You'll have a molecule. I'm just going to draw a big, that's a molecule, and it'll have a hydroxyl group on it, which is just an OH. Then you'll have another molecule with another hydroxyl group on it, an OH. So when these join together, the hydrogen will come off of here, and the OH will come off of here. So just the hydrogen. Now this oxygen will bond over here, and so when that comes out, you get water. Okay? So we took water out. These will link together, so we'll have a link here. And those are covalent bonds, and we're removing a water molecule. Okay? So taking that water out joins them together. So water out is joined. Let me wipe this off. Okay. The next one is hydrolysis, and this one puts water in and splits it. So when cells lyse, they break open. So this word literally means water break. Okay, so water break is what we're going to talk about here. This is the reverse of a condensation reaction. So we have two joined monomers. Okay, and we send water in, and when the water goes in, these will break apart into two separate pieces. Whoops. Oh, my mouse is locked down. And the half the water, the H will go on one, and the OH will go on the other, and those will end up having hydroxyl groups on a portion of the main monomer. All right. I know it can be, there's a lot here, so you might have to watch this more than once. Here's pictures of it, and you can kind of see the water coming out right here is going to be your dehydration or condensation reaction, and water going in right here is going to be your hydrolysis reaction. Okay, so look here. This one, it built together. Water out builds, water in cuts. Okay, so this is getting longer. Water out will build it, water in will cut it. Okay, let me wipe and go on. So that's how most of these form bonds. So that's very common across all four of these, okay? There's other kinds of bonds involved, but most of the time when you're going from small to big, you're looking at dehydration. So these are going to be a category we're going to look at. You don't have to write these down if you're taking notes, but we're going to go over each one, and we're going to start by looking at, you don't have to write this down because for each of those four, we're going to look at the elements it has, the individual units, and we're going to look at some examples. We're also going to look at what does it do in organisms, whether they're mammals or plants or whatever. So the first one we're going to talk about is carbs. Okay. You know what? I'm going to stop here and then I'll start a new video.